Like Terrence Martin left earlier, and he said you two may do an album. You said you're gonna do it, but he said you all have to go to Paris, Africa, back to LA, and then,
Y'all let him do an interview, man.
yeah. So we want to know where you're gonna go with that. You all do
Is
it.
that your first question?
Yeah.
Didn't you and I text about this, I think?
Yeah.
We're supposed to do an album together, I guess. We're gonna call it Bleak Gilliam.
Yeah.
If you know what that is, that was Denzel Washington's character in Mo Better Blues. But who knows, man, because with his busy schedule in mind, there's no telling what, you know. It's kind of one of those things that's gonna have to just come together. We probably have like 10 or 11 songs. I'm sorry. He probably has about 10 or 11 songs of beats I've sent to him that he refused. He'll send me out of the window. Oh, I just did this. And I'm like, how long you been sitting on this? And like, oh, about 4 months. He's that type. So there's no telling, but we'll see. We've been on a lot of work together though, like on other people's projects. So it's been good.
How was being here different from being then at like the BET Awards? How was the experience for you?
I don't do a lot of award shows. I've never been to a BET award show. I've never been to an actual Grammy show. You know, I've always told myself if I went to an award show, it'd probably be the ESPYs because I'm a sports fan. But I like festivals because you get to walk around and be with people, as opposed to, you know, the award shows is red carpet and you got to sit here and don't sit here, and you know, you really can't build with people like you want to, as opposed to an Art of Cool or any other festival. Then you can just walk around and see people just walk by, you stop and have a conversation with them. That's the difference between this type of an event and an award show, to me. I prefer this type of event.
Being from North Carolina yourself and Art of Cool, you know, being birthed in Durham, being really grassroots, what do you think that it offers as far as being innovative for the music scene? Because North Carolina gets this, it's from the South, you know, and then politically we have all this, you know,
Mess going on?
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for us who live in the South, people believe who are probably born up north and don't frequent the South a lot, that we're not sophisticated people. I think that's been a kind of elephant in the room thing with us, that people of the South, from the South are slow, that we don't know good music, we don't know what's going on, we don't know what time it is, we don't know what's hip. And we've always known what happens. We just don't talk a lot, you know what I mean? And I think the Art of Cool shows that, you know. I mean, if you know the history of North Carolina music, everybody's from here. Roberta Flack, everybody is from here. So, just being from Roberta is from here, and you know, other artists that are from here, it only makes sense that we would have something like Art of Cool here. Like, why not? You know what I mean? And I think, you know, in a lot of ways, we need to start looking at NC as, you know, why can't we do it here? You know, it's like, we're soulful people anyway. So this makes sense to have the group of artists that's been coming to Art of Cool the past couple of years here.
What are you working on now?
Oh man. I just finished, I call it the semester of hell. I taught at 3 schools at the same time. University of Pennsylvania, my alma mater, North Carolina Central, and Duke. So my schedule went Penn on Mondays, Central on Tuesdays, Duke Wednesdays, Central Thursdays since January. And I just finished last week, so that's 300 students with a whole lot of personalities and demographics. So we're doing that. Still running my label. We're getting to the end of Rhapsody's album being finished. She just went to the White House twice in 2 weeks. which is crazy to even say out loud. And we found out that the president is a fan of hers, which is nuts. You know, to have something that we made in NC and in the studio here in Raleigh, North Carolina, to have been the president's iPod is incredible to us. So we're trying to finish that. Actual Proof is my other group working on that album. Heather's working on hers. Add Two from Chicago is working on, you know. And I'm back teaching in the fall. I'm heavily involved with the Smithsonian African American History and Culture Museum. It's going to open up in September. I've been on the committee for that the last 2 years. Just trying to, you know, get in the, you know, keep it in the realm of hip hop and keep it academic. You know what I mean? So.
How important is it to your personal mission to work with local artists such as Heather Victoria as opposed to artists in places like Atlanta or New York or things like that?
Well, let people tell it. I don't work with North Carolina artists. You know what I mean? And, you know, not only are my majority of artists are from North Carolina, are from here. All of my producers are from here. My staff is from here. I've never left to live anywhere else. You know, a lot of times I get, you know, if I see people and I know them for a long time and I give them my phone number and I give them a North Carolina area code, they look surprised, like, oh, I thought you moved, or I've been here. I've been in the Raleigh-Durham area for 23 years. And I've never left to live anywhere else, whether it's been in New York, whether it's been in Los Angeles. There's been plenty of artists that have stayed here, got their start here, probably blown, left, lived somewhere else and came back. I've never left. Sometimes that's a good and a bad thing. Sometimes I'm the person to blame because I'm the person that people see, but that's just what it is. But I've never, you know, the only other artist that I have that's not from here is Add Two from Chicago. And GQ is from Oakland, but he played for the University of North Carolina. If I was sounding, anybody know, but if I was sounding Tar Heel,
Yeah.
that lets you know. You know what I mean? So that's, you know, I just believe in staying here. I believe in it 100%.
What keeps you here? Oh, I'm sorry.
What keeps me here?
Yeah.
Cost of living.
It's not as cheap as it used to be.
It's cheaper than New York. It's cheaper than Los Angeles. All the entertainment hubs is cheaper. We get all our seasons here. It's stuff I can't do without. I want my fall to be fall, my winter to be winter, my spring to be spring, my summer to be summer. You can't beat the people here. You can't beat the quality of life here. You know, it's good sometimes. I think we sometimes get frustrated that NC or even the cities within NC are not entertainment hubs. But then we look at it, do we really want all of that to come here? Like, that changes our way of life. You know, it'll be great for the scene, but at the same time, we like NC the way we like MC. We like it quiet. You know what I mean?
It seems that it's changed in the last 10 years.
It has. You know, Raleigh is, you know, along with Charlotte, I think, and then Austin is like the fastest growing cities in the United States. And that's because of RTP and all the things that we're getting here. But still, you know, we like our quality of life. And it's something good about going to the Harris Theater at 2 in the morning and nobody's in there. And it's something good about walking around and speaking to people and they speaking back. Some places you go, you can't look people in the face and speak. I think that's important, and that's why I probably never will.
Knife, going through your journey from, you know, you dropping out of Central in 2000, and you were talking about how most of your friends were settling down and getting homes, and their, you know, their families are there, and, you know, when I look back over your interviews, a lot of it to me was, you know, you spoke life and you spoke prophecy of yourself, and it, you know, you kept yourself going despite, you know, selling all these beats that, you know, most of them not, you know, doing anything, but your 1200th beat goes to Jay-Z.
Right.
And you said, you know, maybe 30 of those were only paid.
Right.
that experience for people who are, you know, coming up and, you know, it's inspiring. What else about that journey do you remember that just you're still shocked about, that you're here now, that, you know, you just can't believe?
Just, I guess, you know, the biggest thing about living in NC and going to college is the dropping out aspect. You know what I mean? Just, I think for those of us who go to college, we're in there because we want to, you know, better ourselves. But at the same time, we're in there for our parents. And to look your mom and dad in the face and say, I'm quitting, you know, and also look them in the face and say, I'm quitting to do beats. And they're looking at you. You know, my mom and dad are 30 years older than me, right? So they're looking at me like, what? You know, these are children of Motown, and they're like, what's that? Like, what DJ? What's that? And you know, to drop out and feel the pressure from, not necessarily pressure from your friends, but you know, just you gotta, you know, at the time I had two friends was going for their PhD, one getting that Juris Doctorate. You know what I mean? I'm supposed to take that path. Instead, I'm in Raleigh in a house, in a 2-bedroom house, living with 6 people.
Yep.
And sleeping on the floor. And just to go through that, that's why I'm not, you know, anybody from my label will tell you, I'm not big on excuses. I'm not big on, I can't do it. I know it all sounds like a fairy tale when people say, you can do it, you can do it. Like, you really, law of attraction is something else. That's all I can say. It's something else.
Now, going back to one of you said you're an artist, you know, commit Chapel Hill. I heard you're a big Michael Jordan fan.
Yeah, I
And
am.
you're a Duke fan.
Yeah,
How does that
I
work?
feel like that's the only mistake he made in his life. People make mistakes, nobody's perfect, you know? And but what's crazy about that is I'm so against that, to him going to Carolina. I can't name you one stat of him being at UNC. I just, you know how you put stuff out your
Did you
memory
his
like that?
Washington
Like it
career?
didn't
You don't
happen.
even have
I saw the shot, you know what I mean? But I just didn't follow him like that in Carolina.
How do you, you have a lot of notoriety, but you also have like a traditional life as like you teach at 3 different, you know, universities. How do you find the balance? Or do you have a balance? Or are you on go mode all the time?
I'm go mode all the time. You know, lack of sleep is definitely a thing, you know what I mean? I guess that's the thing I tell young folks, younger folks rather. Like some of my students, you know, people that, you know, their 20s, that say, I don't have the time. I didn't have time to do it. Like, once you start having kids and all of that stuff, you figure out time. I think, you know, when we're in our teens and in our 20s, there's a such thing as me time that we like to believe in. There is no me time when it comes to doing this, right? And it's a round the clock all the time thing. And sometimes sleep is not. Sometimes sleeping you won't be able to do. Sometimes eating you won't be able to do, right? But it just depends on how bad you want. And I hate to say how bad you want it, because you have to define what is it for you. Everybody's path is not the same. Success is defined so many different ways. You have to define what success is for you, and I think a lot of people struggle with that. But for me, you know, it's go time all the time. I mean, what else I'm gonna do? You know what I mean?
Rhapsody, kind of just to coalesce with the question, how did it change your work ethic once you linked up with Ninth Wonder? Or, you know, did you feel like you were on go mode like he was? You know, like once he kind of chose you type of thing, did you feel prepared? Did you feel ready? Did you feel like you were a needed part of the team? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a little sense. I just knew that I had a lot to learn when I got with him. Even before him, though, my work ethic has always been that because I played sports. And with sports, I was team captain. I was always the first one at practice and the last one to leave. So, you know, that was just something I was raised on, to work hard, had chores every Saturday, like, work. So, you know, my parents were a good example of that. And then, you know, on the other end of sports, I learned it. So when I got with him, I just learned how to apply it to music. Just seeing how, when I came in, all the accolades he already had, and he was still the first one there and the last one to leave at the studio when he has all these new artists. And I'm thinking, if he's accomplished what he has and he's still here, I need to stay longer than he does. 'Cause I have so much more to learn. So I don't think it was necessarily like he needed me, or, you know, I'm this missing piece of the puzzle. You know, I was just humbled that he wanted me on the team, and that's where I wanted to be. So I wanted to earn my spot and do my part, not only to be on the team, but for the culture. Like, you know, I studied the culture, and I didn't want to make music just to say I make it or I'm famous. Like, I wanted to be good at it. And I knew the only way I could be good at it is to work at it and study it and, you know, watch him, because he's already laid out the path. So, you know, that's how I approached it when I got to Jamla.
Like, how did your late grandmother, Lady Mae, how did she affect you, influence you in your craft?
You know, the thing about her is she died in 1964. I was born in 75. So all of the stories I've heard about her was through her sisters and brothers, where the nieces and nephews of her is what I heard, and my dad, of course, is what I heard. You know what I mean? Same thing. I mean, if you, like I said, my mom is 74 and 75 years old. You know, my family didn't get, you know, being able to turn the lights on in that house with a light switch till 1977, right? We had an outhouse when I was born. You know what I'm saying? We ain't talking about slavery times. This is the 70s, right? So just knowing that, you know, and that's my parents, and we ain't talking about grandparents. I think the biggest thing, just hearing her story and my granddad's story and my dad's story, even down to me, I think my biggest thing was responsibility. Like, some people don't know when they're given a certain thing, they have a certain responsibility. And it takes them a while to understand what their responsibility is. So I think that's what I learned from my dad, what she learned from his mom and dad, and so on and so forth. It's a responsibility.
Knight, how do you craft your signature on beats? When you're listening to different songs, you know a Ninth Wonder beat, you know a Justice League beat, you know a Pharrell beat. Like, when you're listening to Destiny's Child, like, your beat is just different from everybody else's. Like,
right.
How, you know, do you craft your signature in music?
I don't know, man. It's just, you know, I guess, you know, just thinking about like James Brown, right, and Earth, Wind and Fire, and Tribe, who I feel like is our generation's Earth, Wind and Fire. We just come from that long line of that sound. It's more of it's not necessarily a sound, it's a feeling. And you know, and that feeling can be expressed, whether it be me, whether it be the new kid, K Tronada, whether it be Anderson .Paak, whether it be rap, whether it be, you know, Kendrick. You know, there's a euphoric feeling that Tribe gave me, that Pete Rock and CL gave me, that certain Earth, Wind and Fire songs gave me, that Don't Disturb This Groove gives me, right? So that's the feeling that I'm trying to chase. And that's the feeling that I started to chase in the beginning anyway. If it didn't give me that feel good, you know, I just didn't want to make it.
Now, you said They Reminisce Over You is your favorite song.
Yeah.
Where were you when you first heard that song and you was like, this is it forever?
I was at a friend of mine's house. We were in high school, and this is at the time where, you know, for the kids in the room, this is the no internet time. And this is the time where you truly, you know, when you hear a song on TV now, it's probably been on the internet for a year, right?
Right.
But when you saw a video on TV for the first time in 1992, that's probably the first time a lot of people heard. There's nobody looking at TV like, oh, I heard that song before. No, this is the first time. And still am, and the video looked like a Spike Lee movie to me. Right? It just didn't look like just a regular video. The way it was cut, the way it was whatever, it looked like a Spike Lee film. So I saw it and I was like, wow, you know what I mean? But it was Pete Rock's personality in the video is when I was attracted to or drawn to, because he was the music dude, right? And so that's what it was like. That it just totally changed everything.
Pardon me, we're out of time.
Yeah, we're- Thank you
Okay.
so much for your time.
Okay. We out of time? Like we got.
We are out of time, so thank you very much.
Oh, okay.
And
I wanted to keep talking. I'm sorry.
Hey, Pat, look, if you could go back 20 years old and talk to yourself 20 years ago, what would you say to yourself?
You crazy? You crazy for doing this?
thank you.
Thank you.